woodsy perfumes are some of my favorite types of perfumes, and fortunately there are many woody perfumes and fragrances out there. A lot of them are marketed towards men, although there's a lot of more vintage perfumes for women that I would say have more woody notes than there are today. But I'm mainly going to focus on the top 5 woody perfumes that I know about and that I quite enjoy. One of which I would argue it's one of the most prominent woodsy perfume options is Obsession. And I mean, even the colors, it reminds you of woodsy, earthy kind of notes. And the great thing about this is that besides the woodiness that it has, it also has a sort of sharpness and earthiness. The main wood notes that it has are actually in the middle notes, so you get it pretty much as soon as you spray it. Mainly cedar, some sandalwood, and oak moss and vetiver. So particularly the cedar, I would say, is very strong, especially compared to the sandalwood. It definitely has that kind of a kind of weird coldness that cedar has. I would say that sandalwood is more of a warmer woody note, while cedar is a bit colder and like more moist, I guess. And Obsession also has a sort of muskiness mixed with a little bit of vanilla. So it's not just pure wood notes, even though those wood notes are very, very prominent. It also has, a nice very blend of the musk, of the vanilla, a bit of incense, that sort of thing. So it's almost a savory sort of perfume, similar to, I don't know, going to a barbecue and they're using some cedar chips or that sort of thing. Not quite as smoky, but definitely in that category. And for that reason, Obsession, I would argue, is pretty much a pretty unisex perfume. It's just, those wood notes are inescapable, so, and I think wood is a pretty unisex scent. So the next one that I have that I think is also quite woody is Coco by Chanel. This is one of my favorite perfumes, but unfortunately I just have this small sample. And the main wood note in this one is sandalwood. You'll find sandalwood in a lot of perfumes, but some perfumes have it more prominently than others. I would say that Coco has a very prominent sandalwood note. I don't know if a lot of perfumes these days use real sandalwood or not, because real sandalwood is getting pretty rare. But the great thing about Coco is that sandalwood note is very warm, very kind of all-encompassing, a little bit smoky, but more than anything, that wood blends with a bit of amber and a bit of spiciness. From this one you get definitely a lot of cloves, and cloves really complement the sandalwood note. It gives it an additional warmth and a bit of a sharpness, a certain aromatic nature. And besides that, so it isn't too dry or too spicy, it mixes that with some vanilla and some floral notes in the top. But Coco in general is actually pretty similar to Obsession, where it's, even though there are some florals, you kind of forget about those, and it dwells more on the woody notes, the musk notes, and a bit of amber or vanilla. So definitely kind of a strong, powerful sort of fragrance, spicy. So the next one on my list here is a perfume that not too many people know about, 1000 by Jean Pato. And this, I would argue this is almost woodier than Obsession, because it focuses more on the wood notes than anything else. It doesn't kind of wander. It's very a dry kind of fragrance, and you could really imagine yourself chopping down some some trees or chopping up a log. You know, it's that kind of true woody nature. Specifically oak and sandalwood. The sandalwood is kind of expected, but the oak is more unique, and the oak is more prominent in 1000. It's very, very dry, like a log cabin sort of smell. And because of that, interestingly, it doesn't really have any musk notes. It mainly just has some patchouli mixed in. But the wood notes are so prominent that musk isn't even necessary to ground the perfume from its floral notes. And it does have a note of rose, which kind of softens the otherwise very hard and dry notes of oak in particular. So for that reason, if you really, really like woodsy perfumes and just the true wood notes, then you'd probably like 1000, because it has that really kind of, you know, nothing else is getting in the way of the wood notes. It's just the wood notes. So other one from the same brand, Jean Pato, is Joy, which is quite a lot more well known. Joy is not necessarily seen as a prominent woody perfume, more as a floral perfume, but even so, because when you first put it on you don't really get the wood notes, but it's only after you let the perfume dry that the specifically sandalwood notes start to come into play. And I would say it gets woodsier the longer you wear it. Those kind of mainly rose notes, they start to tone down, and it mainly becomes sandalwood with a bit of musk mixed in. And similar to 1000, it's a bit of a dry sort of perfume, even a little bit cold, even though there is still a balance with the florals. 1000 doesn't focus on the florals as much as Joy does. Joy is made with thousands of flowers, so it only makes sense that the floral notes will play a part, and they just kind of degrade into the wood notes the longer you wear the perfume. And it's just a very classic perfume. It's been around for almost 100 years, so it's certainly something to consider if you are maybe transitioning from floral perfumes into more musky or woodsy perfumes. The last one that I have here is, of course, Chanel No. 5, and this is also mainly considered a floral perfume, but it does have very similar to Joy. It becomes more musky and more woodsy the longer you wear it. And for Chanel No. 5 in particular, the main wood note is sandalwood, but it is mixed with vetiver, musk, amber, patchouli, and some civet. I would say that the sandalwood and the civet are the most prominent notes that you will get after wearing this for an hour or so. The top floral and citrus notes will kind of fade out, and the civet and sandalwood will be very prominent. A little bit of powderiness, but not too much. And it's definitely not as raw and woodsy as, say, Coco or Obsession, or even 1000. It's a bit lighter, not so in your face, not so rustic. But it does have more of a delicate woodiness, blended with the florals, a bit of vanilla. The civet is very prominent, especially on certain skin types, oilier skin types in particular. And so, I mean, just make sure that you like civet. It's an animalistic scent. And other than that, it's just kind of a nice, you know, not too heavy woody perfume. It's good for experimenting with, you know, some woodsy notes. So other than that, those are kind of my, I guess, recommendations for woody perfumes. If I had to pick a woody perfume that's like pure raw wood, it's either kind of a tie between 1000 and Obsession. Obsession is a bit richer with a bit of sweetness. 1000 is more dry, you know, more like aged oak sort of thing, or a barrel, or, you know, that sort of thing. So That's pretty much all I have to say about woody perfumes. If you have any other woody perfume recommendations, you can leave those down in the comments below. If you like the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.